obvious question, so I'll ask it anyway. When you've already got a young and experienced secondary and you lose a starting corner, how do you adjust? What do you need to do?
Right. Well, I mean, we feel pretty good about we've always felt pretty good about the youth at that spot. Now it's just the experience where we felt like we had to bank knowledge. So we're going to take a look at DJ and Jalen both this week. With DJ is a true pro. It's hard, right? You start for a couple of games and then you're out. But his mentality, I don't think there's anybody more excited for Juju when he made the play in Baltimore than DJ. He's very mature, and he knows, just like everybody who's a backup, that you could be out, with injuries that take place during the season, you could be up in no time. And you just got to always be ready. So he's in a great mindset. We're just going to take a good look at Jalen too and just see this week what plays out.
One quick follow-up. You and Ron have both talked about growing pains in the secondary. Is that kind of what we saw in overtime, where the miscommunication with a rookie, that unfortunately those are things that might happen?
Yeah. I mean, I think plus in a moving clock, tough situation, we brought a pressure. I'll take some of the blame at that too. We just felt like we had to disrupt him, get him off his rhythm a little bit. And, one of those things could happen. I'm not saying that was just due to youth, but we haven't put him in that situation yet at the moving clock.
Thanks, Gus.
Yep. Thank you.
Nate.
Hey, Gus. I know it's obviously a process to get Shaq back into the form he's at this year, but his playing time's gone down each of 4 weeks. So what kind of goes into just that decision on your part of kind of how much to play him and when to play him?
Sure. I think with Shaq, I mean, obviously he wants to play every play all the time. And I think when we sat down and looked at it, we just felt like we're going to, have a plan in mind and kind of follow that plan. There may be more, there may be less reps, but it's based on how we're going to bring him back. And really the ideal thing is, in my mind, is to get him back, sometime November, to where we really have a good feel for where he's at. Now, this last game, usually what we do is EJ plays a lot of base. And then we rolled EJ in some with Shaq based on the rotation. This last week, there was no base. It was all 11 personnel. So that's why it got jockeyed a little bit differently because of that, just to stay on what the plan for Shaq and also to get EJ some playing time because there was no base.
Joel.
Gus, does Shaq play Mike at all? I know Sagoon was kind of in there a little bit whenever.
Yeah. Right now, we have not trained him for that. I'm not saying that we can't do that, but we felt like for Z, it was like 1 or 2 reps, that he was going to be out. So saying you got the reps in practice, to be his backup Mike. And so at that situation, we just put Segu in.
JJ.
Gus, what's the challenge for Dallas now as a guy who's a former undrafted free agent who got a starting opportunity to now miss, most of this season? Like, what's the challenge for him coming back from this?
Well, I mean, you nowadays you hear people coming back from that and they do well. So I think, but it does check your spirit. Here's a guy that's got a great spirit about him. He gets his chance. He's starting, he's learning, he's playing some good ball. And then this happens. So I think the challenge for him is to, rehab and do everything right there. But also it's a long process. So his spirit is very important. And that's what he has his teammates and us as coaches to help him out through that. But obviously he's pretty discouraged, that it took place. But, it can happen in games.
How did you see him kind of fitting with the responsibilities of that specific cornerback position in your defense?
He did a good job. I think, Chappie said it earlier that, there's going to be some things that they may have not seen before compared to a veteran, that's played a lot of years at that spot. So he was in that process with those other guys, learning the position. He's a talented, athletic corner for us with length. And he was coming along. He made some plays in the game. So, I think we were going to be patient with him and just know that eventually we're going to have a guy that could play that position pretty well. So Now it's a little bit of a setback, but our feelings are still the same with him.
James.
Gus, you all play a really high number of defensive snaps just in zone coverages. How do you think that worked out Sunday against the Rams, and maybe what are the pros and cons of having that many opportunities, I guess, to kind of feel out the zone?
Right. I think there's, we play some zone and we play some match coverage, and the game we played it all, he does such a good job. I think with Stafford, we felt like, what part of the game is it? Are we ahead in the game? We knew they had the ability to start fast. They were a very, fast oriented team where they could score points early. And that's what we had to withstand, was the first 20 plays against them. And I felt like we had the opportunity with 3rd and 11, but we had the penalty. And, sure enough, we didn't slow them down, and they scored some points in the first 25 plays. And then I thought we regrouped and kind of played better. But, I think you're seeing us, our pressure, we did run quite a few pressures. I know some of them were versus the run. But, we'll continue to try to mix it up.
Raven.
And kind of going back to the cornerbacks a bit, with the Dallas Flowers out, you also mentioned just getting a good look at DJ and what Jalen Jones can do. How big is it to have a veteran in that cornerback group like Kenny Moore, who can kind of help guide whoever's going to step into that spot?
Very important. You saw Kenny on the field. He was communicating with Juju, went through motion and jets, and Juju's pretty sharp now. I really do. He is a bright, athletic, as far as for him and learning it. Like if we say, hey, here's some formations, here's what you got in this formation, like a automatic front and coverage type deal, he has no issue with that. Juju is just experienced playing in those situations. So, when those moments occur, I think a guy like Kenny Moore helps him.
Last one, Thomas.
The defense allowed 27 first down Sunday, played nearly 40 minutes on the field. Is the plan to keep Kenny Moore at nickel, or will the rotation at corner be affected without Dallas Flowers now?
I think you'll see Kenny playing both still. You'll play inside and he'll play outside.